today I'm coming to you from Rye House, and instead of the usual Club 100 footage, I'm going to be doing a bit of rental car driving, the twin engine pro karts. What I wanted to do was get a bit of fitness. 29 hours recovery. But I also wanted to practice turning in later. On my last video I noticed I was really struggling on the way out of corners, and that normally means you're going into corners too fast. So today I'm all about braking maybe a bit earlier, scrubbing off more speed and getting a better drive on the exit. Actually looks like a really full house here at Rye House today. There's a full grid. I was the last person on, so it could be quite competitive.
So I had a bright idea, which would be to have a look at the lap times from the race before and choose the kart that had the fastest lap. Quick check of the brakes, you can change the positions of the pedals and the seat, relax for a little bit until the track is ready, and then out we go. This would be 15-minute qualifying, followed by racing until the rest of the hour. I do know Rye House fairly well. I used to come here quite a lot when I was younger. So did a couple of laps and I would qualify 8th, which is not too bad, just taking position. I have to go over the mud a little bit just to get in place. And here are the lights. Off we go, and kart number 16 just has a terrible start. I don't know what he was up to holding the engine, but I hit him and lose my momentum. And then I have to use the outside line, but managed to get on the inside because on the outside there is not good. We're going to see some familiar faces, 19, 15, 9 and 4. We're going to see a bit more of them this race. Not quite managing to take advantage of that little scuffle through that corner. Going to try and go wide and then come back in. I don't think my kart was super fast, but I'm also 85 kilograms, so some of the smaller drivers probably had a bit of an edge in terms of acceleration. It certainly wasn't a rocket ship. It was fine. It was a nice day at Rye House. It had been sunny all day. It was hot, but not too hot. You can hear quite a lot of squeaking from the tyres. I actually went to Rye House earlier in the year when it was colder, and lap times were pretty much a second lower across the board. So I think the heat probably did slow down lap times a little bit. And we're just trying to get into a bit of a rhythm. So I give you a bit of an idea of what to expect during this video. We've got this bit now, which is the beginning of the race. I'm then going to take you into a section of 4 or 5 laps where I strung together my most consistent lap times within the whole event. And they're pretty much all in the 43s. So that's a kind of sit back, relax. It's a good opportunity to learn the track if you don't know it yourself, to see some of the lines, so you can have a look at that. And then we will skip to the end. You can see actually I've skipped on a bit here. It's a bit darker now. The night is closing in. Yeah, so after the good laps we will skip to the end, and just a couple more battles there. You'll see the bit where it went all wrong for me. I lost like 4 positions in one corner or something ridiculous later, and then just the close of the day. So at the end of this video you should have some laps that you can learn from if you don't know the circuit, some do's and don'ts, and just also what the 60-minute session at Rye House looks like. So that would be, or rather this is lap 21. So the time for this lap will be 44:03, and then we're going to come into the next laps, 22, 23, 24, 25, maybe 26, and they will all be 43s. So let's see what I was doing right. this lap would be a 43.72. It's good if you can hook that inside wheel over the curb, which I didn't do there, but you can use those bricks on the left as well to really open that corner as much as possible. Probably my second weakest corner on the track, actually. I just felt that coming onto the main straight I was bogging down more often than not, but I would try and use almost all of the exit. It's a little bit bumpy, but I felt it was faster. This lap, a 43.87, so that curb can be used nicely as well. We're just pulling up on a bit of traffic. Sometimes when I turn my head you can see the mount that I used to attach my GoPro to my helmet. I've actually got a kind of a strap. Think of a strap on. It kind of goes on the chin of the helmet, and the GoPro goes there, so it's just under my eye line. And then here, what I was doing, I was taking that curve, then lifting at that tyre, letting the kart slip a little bit, and then accelerate back through that tyre wall. And I felt I was doing pretty well in that corner. Nibble the curb there on the right, and then someone spun, and you can go flat over this curb, and you can actually take quite a lot of this curb too, which I did there. It's a very flat curb, so apparently Rye House has been resurfaced recently, so the curbs are more forgiving than they used to be. This one, a 43.75, again using all of those curbs. Turning gradually, just using that curb a little bit, and then staying close, using the bricks to open up the track, and again go wide on the exit. So these two in front, kart number 1 and the other guy with white sleeves, I was catching them over these laps, so they're ahead of me in the race, and I was really excited because I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna catch these guys. Like, I'm actually gonna move up a few positions. I would actually finish 8th in the end, but this to me was looking like I could maybe finish in the top 5. So I'm really excited, and the reason why I'm showing you these laps is because they felt like the most consistent phase of the race for me, where I was driving at my best. I did do one lap that was faster, but these were all consistent and good. "22 with the white helmet, he lets me through, which is very polite of him. I'm still in contention with that pack just ahead. Now you can see this lap will be a 44, so things have just started to go a tiny bit wrong as we catch up on this traffic here. So what I found with these races at Rye House is that when you're left to fight with the people who are racing at a similar speed as you, things are fine, but when you come across back markers, that can really trip you up. So you can see here, I've been able to close up on number 1, and that's not really because he's gone slower, it's just because he's got caught up in number 14. So that's a benefit for me, but then also the benefit for the karts behind. And it's really your ability to get through back markers that has quite a big variance in where you finish in the race. You can see I've tapped him a few times, and number 16, who was the chap who was slow off the line at the beginning, he has taken advantage, and he's got straight past. You can see fist in the air, he's pretty happy about that. 20 would spin there. You can just see that if you're a bit slower at getting through the traffic than the people in front, you can become detached. And again, number 3 is going to cause some problems for number 1 here. I'm a bit ambitious and I go through that little gap, but lose a bit of momentum as I tap number 1 as well, so this wouldn't be an amazing lap. A few sparks there from number 1, he took a bit too much curb. You can see number 1 is really squirming around actually, he's probably putting in too strong inputs into that kart, which is why it's getting a bit wiggly and slowing himself down. Bit of a better run on the exit there, but then I just tap him again and lose my momentum, but try for the inside and make the move stick more or less. It wasn't the cleanest of passes and I didn't get a very good run through those corners there, so it's not going to be the last we see of number 1. He'll be back on the case a bit later. So, killer move there, really late on the brakes and just slipped it up the inside. Really good place to overtake. It's quite a nice time to race. We started at 6 and finished at 7, so you do get that change in light, change in temperature. Number 19 has made his way through, managed to fend him off. And that time I was a bit too ambitious with that braking move, so I lost my control. I did hit the side of the guy, and if you look up at that gantry on the start-finish line, you'll see I actually have a warning for number 11, which is me. And I have to say, it really distracted me because I lost a bit of a killer instinct when I saw that warning, and I was just, it just took my concentration. And I let these guys through, and they kind of apologised to each other, and then here's number 1 back in the game, and oh my gosh, there's like number 9 has come through as well. So just when the race was going quite well, I've just lost a bunch of places, and I would have to try and make these back throughout the rest of the race. And it just goes to show how you don't want to be thinking about anything else than the task at hand, because if you do get distracted and you get one of those warnings, it can just throw you off your game. Even later in the race, battling here with number 19. Number 19 would finish 7th, so 1 place ahead of me. So I regret letting him past in that contact warning. It actually just said warning, which kind of made me laugh. The sign normally says contact warning, but when it just said warning number 11, I was like, gosh, what's that about? We're on the final lap now. I absolutely arsed up the final lap. I got all out of shape there, too much curb, hit a puddle. I've now got water on my camera, really sloppy. I think this lap ended up being a 46 or something, so goes to show that I was probably a bit tired now and had really dropped the ball. In terms of our friend kart number 1, he would finish behind me. He was a good driver. His best lap, I'm just looking at the scores now, his best lap was actually about 0.2 seconds better than my best lap, so did well to beat him in the end, over the checkered line, checkered flag, and then you just come into the pits. Other karts we saw a little bit of, number 9, he would finish 11th, and kart number 16, he would finish 5th. All in all, good workout, and as you saw from that little clip that I snuck in the beginning, my watch measures exertion, if you like, and it gives you an average heart rate. I think mine was it's like 150 or 160 was my average over the course of that hour, and then it also works out how many calories you've done. I think it was 800, and then how long to recover, and over a day in order to recover from that race. So it really is something to do an hour's go-karting. And if you'd like to see some Club 100 racing, do explore the rest of the channel.